Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Ecommerce Espresso, the webinar that is shorter than your coffee break. And to keep things nice and neat and tidy and as impactful as possible, we don't do a Q&A at the end. However, if you do want to send us some questions either to me, LoyaltyLion, or today's guest, you can tweet at us at LoyaltyLionHQ with the hashtag Ecommerce Espresso. So, without further ado, and before my nicely freshly brewed coffee gets too cold, why don't we just jump straight in and meet our guest. It is Jameela Ghann from Fera.ai. Jameela, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Fera.ai?
Yeah, so my name's Jameela, and I am the marketing manager for Fera.ai. And I also own a jewelry store online called the Laura Boutique. And I've been running that for like 10 years, 6 years in like real life, and then 4 years online. So that's what I do. I help merchants be successful online, and I try to sell jewelry to people.
And tell us a little bit more about Fera, because Fera.ai, because I'm definitely new to the brand and the company as well. So could you give us a little bit of the USP there?
Yes. Okay. So Fera helps you to earn trust and build trust with your customers so that you can sell more. So basically, the way that we help you earn trust with your customers is by displaying social proof. So that's anything from like Jane from like whatever city bought these pair of shoes 20 minutes ago, or saying something like 13 people are looking at this product and there are 3 left, but also customer photos and displaying testimonials on your website. So anything that really has to do with you seeing that somebody else really loved a product and wanting to buy it because somebody else has it. That's what we do.
Awesome. That's going to be the main thrust of our discussion today, right? A lot of user-generated content, a lot of social proof, trust signals, those kinds of things. So if you're ready, let's just jump into our first question, which is, in recent months, we've been seeing stores producing really innovative user-generated content. I mean, we'll just keep using UGC probably as the shorthand for the rest of this chat. Of course, another like shortened marketing acronym. So stores are producing really innovative UGC to help communicate with customers during the pandemic. Could you share some of your favorite examples that you've seen?
Yeah, so one of the first examples that I brought up is a clothing store that's in Canada. It's a made in Canada brand called Buttercream Clothing. And so in this current climate, she can't do in-person photo shoots because she used to do like in-person photo shoots with like 8 people or something like that. But of course, that's not possible now. So she would send products to customers and then have them take them in their house. So it really showcased like how good the clothes look, even during the pandemic, like how you could have it with your coffee or how you could be wearing like the clothing playing with your kids. So that was like a really, really good way that she used UGC during this time. And like you can obviously always do that even during non-pandemic times to send customers products. But there's another store that does this really well. It's called Izzy and Liv, and they embed their customer photos from their Instagram onto their product page so that you can see what like the shirt looks like on different body types. And I'm pretty sure I sent you guys an example of that so you can show people.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully that's just coming on the screen right now.
Exactly. So yeah, it's really good to show how like non-model people are wearing the product, because a lot of time you'll shop online and you'll be like, oh yeah, like it looks good on this like model, but like is it gonna look good on me? Yeah, exactly. Just a normal person with a normal body. Not to say that models aren't normal people, but they usually look better than us. So
we want to see, it's about that truth. It's about authenticity, and it's a really nice stand-in for like, it's a shortcut to a review in that sense. It's the like, oh, there's someone who is similar to me in the same community as me, or has the same values as me with that item, whether it's clothes or something else. I mean, immediate social proof.
Exactly. Because you can see yourself in that product or with that product. So it's like, that's one of the best examples of that I've seen.
I love it. I mean, I've been so impressed with brands like that, adapting so quickly to the current situation, and just taking steps and doing something has been, really, really key for a lot of those brands to stay active and to stay authentic with their audiences.
Exactly.
We see that, this kind of work is really great for building trust, because 63% of US customers enjoy shopping with brands that exceed their expectations across the entire journey. So showing user-generated content is just like, hey, I could get into that. That's real. That's important. And that's delightful, So just by being that little bit more honest and letting, your users go, or your customers go and create amazing content that, you can use to build trust, it's a great step. Well, that moves us into how do you go and generate that content, or how do you motivate people to generate that content, which is our second question. So what are 3 actionable tips to drive user-generated content?
Okay, so the first tip that I have is you just have to ask. So like the majority of customers will leave a review or give you a photo or a video if you simply ask. So for example, for our jewelry, we send like a little postcard in every package that's like, thanks for your order, tag us online to be featured. And that's like that, or email us a photo. So that's like a really good way for people to send you a photo once they get it, because you're just asking, and most people will comply, especially when they're excited for your package.
The timing's really important there, right?
Exactly. So that's the first thing to do, to ask like on delivery. But then the second thing that you can do is you can send a post-purchase email, and you can give them an incentive. So like depending on what you're asking for, if you're just asking for a review, you can give like a discount. But if you're asking for something like a little bit more involved, like a photo or a review, you can exchange loyalty points, or you can do cash back. So that's like a really good way to incentivize people, because like it's a lot of effort to like do a video and upload it. Yeah. So like if you give somebody like 100 or 200 loyalty points or something like that and make it worth their while, then they're more likely to give you a video. And then the other thing is like, if you don't have a lot of sales, you can always use influencer marketing. So there's a new startup, which I also sent an example for, called Your Majesty. And she does like these really cool, like silk head wraps and like silk pillowcases. And she uses influencer marketing to get content for her product, and she puts that on Instagram. And that's like a really, really good way to get photos of your product in action, so people know that like other people instead of you actually like your product.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to get things moving, right? Because if it almost makes it seem like it's not difficult to go and create this content, and it makes it seem like there's already some existing content. So that community is already starting to be built. I just loved what you said at the start about like just the simplest thing is just to ask, reach out to enough people, and, you'll start to get some traction, and then your new customers will see that this is part, an enjoyable part of the purchase experience, and not just the purchase experience, but the post-purchase experience.
Yes,
you're not
which
only
is super important.
Yeah, you're right. You're going to not also would you just get something in return, but you're also engaging and being a part of this community. There's something nice about you might be featured on a product page, or kind of showing off the new thing that you just got. I mean, I just got a new coffee maker yesterday, and I took photos of it and was like, oh, I'm send these to my friends, put this up on the site. It's just a new little baby blue mocha pot. I was like, I'm proud of this. I mean, all I did was buy it, but user-generated content. The slow motion video of me making espresso will be coming up soon, I'm sure.
I'm excited to see that. Please send that my way.
I mean, as you said, a lot of the, the idea of giving loyalty points as well, the heaps of our clients use loyalty program points to reward people for different kinds of social media activity, reviews activity, those kinds of things. And as you said, we've found that most of our merchants find the most effective time to ask for that user-generated content, or to ask for that kind of engagement is, post-purchase, post-delivery, while the excitement is there, while the feelings are fresh, and being able to give them something that they'll receive in return just kind of sweetens the deal a little bit.
I actually want to just jump in there and say that like the unboxing experience is really important. Like you don't want to just like send it in like some like whatever mailing bag or something like that. You want to put it in like a little gift bag or a gift box, and like have like the note, like you don't have to handwrite it obviously if you're selling a lot, but like have the little postcard in there, and it just makes the experience so much more shareable that like people are like, this brand cares about me, like look at their pretty packaging. So that's like really important.
And give your customers the tools and the information that can help them create great content. I got, again, with the coffee thing, I mean, it is Ecommerce Espresso, so I am going to talk about coffee, but a great coffee brand in the UK. I ordered 2 different kinds of coffee from them, and along with the beautiful bags, these beautiful little brown eco-friendly bags that the coffee beans came in, they sent me 2 postcards with all of the descriptions, like a nice little narrative about the two types of coffee.
Oh,
One had come from Papua New Guinea, and the other one had come from Ethiopia, and they had pictures of the the places that the coffee beans were farmed and the co-op that the coffee went through, and
nice.
they were talking points. They were things that I could share, with my partner, with my friends, share online, and actually give me something to talk about other than just like, here's the product. And it made the unboxing experience way more enjoyable and way more
Yeah,
shareable as well. Making something that is going to make great content. You're thinking about that before you even send your product out to customers.
exactly.
That's,
Exactly.
that's a great idea. And as you said,
Yeah.
just ask, find interesting ways to ask, and, and people will start creating, and they'll see other people creating it too. So it's just so important just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, because you get that cycle for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And, if they can see that you as the merchant are featuring that kind of content, then, they know what's going to happen to it. They can see the rewards in practice. So it'll just start from there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's true.
So why don't we move on to our third question, which
Okay.
is new research is showing that consumers are spending way more time scrolling through their social feeds than they did before. So what social media trend do you suggest e-commerce merchants keep an eye on?
Right. So I personally, from experience, suggest that brands who are in fashion, beauty, lifestyle, they really stick to, especially if their customers are like older-ish millennials, that they stick to Instagram and they start to utilize IGTV, because typically if you like post something to IGTV and then share it in your feed, you'll get a lot more engagement and you'll get a lot more reach than if you just posted like a static image post. So I would say that that's like a really good way to engage with people on social media, because they are scrolling so much and Instagram is really pushing IGTV, but also to create like fun and engaging content. And people also want to see like who's behind the brand. They want to see that you guys are normal people, like what your office looks like who your employees are. Sorry. And like people are nosy and they want to know what you're up to.
I love that idea. That it's like, lean into the nosiness of your
Yeah.
customers. They want to know what's going on.
They do. It's like weird. You're like, ew, does anybody care about this stuff? But they do. So really giving people what they want and making sure that you're connecting with your customer on like the platforms that they're already on. So I would say IGTV, and just like, yeah, let them know what you're up to.
What do you love about Instagram and IGTV? Like, what do you think it is that's making that particular part of Instagram or that particular part of social media like sticky and engaging and personal? Like, what is it about that, do you think?
Well, first, I think it's like so easy to just like keep scrolling through videos. So I'd say like the way that they've created like the user experience is like pretty seamless. And the fact that you can like comment and also watch the video at the same time is good. And that they have all the different formats. So like you can have it horizontal or you can have it vertical. But I think it's just like, it's again an easy way for people to like just kind of be mindless and like watch content. It's like TV but like on your phone. So I think that's the main reason that Instagram is. And also the fact that they like know so much about you and they know your interests already, and like when you go to the explore page you can see like just a curation of basically everything that you've liked in the past. So I think the fact that they like are hardcore spies on your behavior, that's what makes it engaging.
They do know audiences really well. That is really key,
Yeah.
There's just something that matching the kind of personal element. I always think about Instagram feeds, or whenever I think of, our customers or merchants' customers out there in the world, that an Instagram feed is so curated, like so personally curated to like all the interests that you have. Like mine, I would say like mine, like it's a really like organized mess. Like you scroll through mine, it's like, oh, there's some interesting architecture. There's some sport related stuff. There's some like,
Okay.
satirical, like fashion stuff. It's like, this
So
is all
you're
over the
not
shop.
an influencer.
Probably not an influencer. No, not me. But like all the stuff that I'm interested in, like it kind of reflects in that as well. And the idea of you as a brand or as a merchant trying to get into somebody's personal feed, or trying to get into, into the thing that they're scrolling through, and like making it sticky and making them kind of just stop on what they, on your thing. You should match that kind of awareness and that amount of attention they're giving you with being personal yourself as a brand. Putting people up that are, that show off your brand's personality, and encouraging your team to share a bit of themselves and to show how in line the people are, the brand is with, you know, the community's values as well. You
Exactly.
know, our research that we've done shows that, you know, the majority of consumers are motivated to, you know, become loyal to brands is because they share the same values as them. So you really need to take the opportunity to show that you know you have those kinds of values,
That's true.
and tying it up with that brand story. Like, you know, can you think of any brands that like do a really good job of like that live their brand through Instagram or through their loyalty programs or through, you know, their social community?
That's a good
Just to put you on the
question.
spot.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to think of brands that I shop from, because I honestly only, unless it's something that like I can't get in my city, like I only shop local. So there aren't like any like big brands that are doing like that I
Okay,
can think of off the top
the
of my
world's
head.
made up of
But like
small and up and coming brands.
that's true. So I like Buttercream Clothing for sure. I buy a lot of my clothes from her because it is sustainable and it's made in Canada. And she does a really, really good job of her Instagram feed and her Instagram stories. She's not so much on IGTV, but she does a really good job of stories and of her Instagram feed. So I really enjoy her. And then I'm just trying to think of who I've purchased from lately too. I would say that that's the first one that comes
Well, they've
off the
got
top of
strong,
my
you know,
head.
the fact that you went, like, you could just reel off those brand values right away. Like, you were immediately like, yeah, so totally socially, like, you know,
Yeah,
environmentally sustainable, local.
yeah,
They really care about the product. Like, I'm sure all of that stuff comes through their Instagram stories, comes
it
through their
does.
social media brand, and it's just an immediate reflection. I also love the idea that, you know, especially smaller merchants, you know, it can be a lot of effort and cost versus reward, and being able to use content you've created in multiple places, whether that's just on the same social platform or across many social platforms, is so useful, because it can, you know, it takes a lot of effort to do a, you know, great video or to, you know, put something
It's so much
together.
effort.
But
But
if you
the
just
nice
get,
thing about,
yeah,
sorry, the
no,
nice
go
thing
for it.
about video, especially on IGTV, is like it doesn't have to be high quality. It has to be good sound. Like there's like you can't make a video with bad sound. But as long as it's like good sound, but like low quality video, and you're just like you just have your phone in front of your face, like that's fine. People are open to that because a lot of people are tired of like perfectly manicured and
Yeah.
perfectly good looking feeds, right? So like you don't have to have really good video, and yeah, it still does take time to make it, but like I just want to put it out there that it shouldn't deter anybody from making video because it just like doesn't have to be like beautiful.
I love that point. I love that there's a sense of honesty and authenticity and like realness about that,
Yeah,
right? That it's about what the content is saying, as opposed to necessarily how it always looks and feels. But
yeah,
if it's, you know,
exactly.
if it's genuinely, you know, touching into the core of the brand's values, or you know, an important, using the platform in an important way as to tell an important message that is, you know, tightly aligned to the brand story, then it's always going to be fine. And I love that, the idea that you shouldn't let that stop you from going and creating great content, because if you show that you can make great content, then to bring it back to that user generated content idea,
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, your community and your customers are going to want to go and make great content and engage with you too, and that's part of
Exactly.
user generated content. You know, the fact that you can be
Yes.
out there saying, hey, I'd love to hear from you, or I'd love to see how you use this, or what this looks like in your place. Those people will start to get involved that way, and then it just feeds and builds and continues to, you know, to motivate others.
Exactly, exactly. One good example that I have, um, this person doesn't sell physical products, but they showcase the people who have used their services. This guy who like does like helps people like reduce their debt and retire as millionaires. He's like actually
Sounds awesome.
legit. He's cool. Yeah. But he like he'll post pictures of people who are just like, I just paid off $30,000 in debt, or I just paid off like $1,000 in debt or whatever. And he'll post that, and like people will send him like every time that they like reach their goal, they'll send him these photos, and then he'll put them on his feed. And it's like it
So
like
good.
encourages you to be part of that tribe, right?
Yes,
So, yeah,
yes,
it's
part of that tribe. I mean, it's the crazy thing just came to my mind. Like, it reminded me of like going to see a dentist or an orthodontist when I was a kid, and you'd see the like before and after photos on the wall of like people with incredible smiles. You'd be like, that's what I want. Like, am I going to
yeah,
be on that wall? Am I going to be gold star?
exactly. I'll make sure I keep my mouth open for as long as possible so I can be featured.
Oh, so good. Well, I feel like, you know, we've gone through, like, you've given us so many like actionable tips for getting user generated content out there, and where to use that, where to feature and use that user generated content, whether that's on Instagram, on IGTV, making sure that it appears on product pages so that users and customers can have a really nice, believable, authentic, streamlined experience, because they'll be like, hey, and that is the product I want in the real world.
Exactly.
I'm down.
Oh, you know what though? I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that Fera can help you get those reviews and post them to social. So
simple as that.
Want you guys to know.
Seamless, streamlined. No, that's important. I mean, again, this goes to what we were saying before about, the effort versus the reward, and making sure that, you're using the tools that are available to make that, you're putting so much of yourself as a merchant into the brand, or, as a marketing manager at a brand, you're putting so much effort into creating awesome content and creating great brand stories, that you can lessen some of that effort by using automated tools, and again, just focus on making that flywheel move a little bit faster.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is all about like streamlining things once you start selling over a certain amount. Like there are some things in my business that I just like can't do. That's why I have apps, or I have like somebody to help me like fill the orders or whatever. Because it's like, you can't do it all. Like who's got time for that?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Jameela, that is all we've got time for today, and it brings us to the end of this edition of E-commerce Espresso. As I said, I mean, immediately actionable insights, and just the real drive of like, get started now. Start asking people to create user-generated content. Start getting out there and making great content yourself, and trying to be as human. Share more of the personal story behind the brand. Share more of the people that are at your brand as well, and get closer to that community values idea. As always, we'll be sharing this recording on demand. So if you feel like you've missed something, you want to go back, you want to share it with other people, nice and easy thing for you to do. And one last big thanks to Jameela for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. We're so happy to have you here. Remember, if you have any questions for us or Fera.ai, you just need to tweet at us using the hashtag Ecommerce Espresso. And on that note, let's say goodbye, and we'll see you all again soon. Cheers.
See you.